Hey everyone, it's Enchanted, and I wanted to talk about this whole Tyla controversy from the VMA Awards. So, just to start off, I do think people are overreacting to the situation, but there are many talking points and Diaspora Wars that I'm seeing going on Twitter, and I'd like to give my input. So, if you guys don't know, Tyla is a South African singer who is most known for her viral song Water. It was extremely viral last year, it was trending everywhere on TikTok. She's been in the music industry for a couple years, from what I believe, but 2023 was really her breakout year. Her first controversy came about because of her terrible PR team. In South Africa, from my understanding, mixed people identify as colored. I don't know if this applies to full black people or full African people, but Tyler herself, she identifies as a colored woman. Colored for black people in America, it means something different, and it's a pretty derogatory word. It's a term most black Americans associate with segregation and the Jim Crow era, aka colored bathrooms, colored water fountains, designated places where black people were allowed to go or were restricted to. So Tyler identifying as a colored woman while heavily promoting herself in black American spaces, it caused a lot of controversy and discussion because, like I said, black Americans associate that word with negative history. On The Breakfast Club, which is a popular radio show in the black community, she was questioned about this, and Tyla, as well as her team, handled this extremely poorly. They should have used this opportunity to get ahead of the curve and address it right then and there, because this has been like an ongoing topic of discussion for like a couple weeks leading up to this Breakfast Club interview. They should have known that this would be an obvious question that's going to come up, and they could have prepared for it. Instead of having an answer ready to go, Tyler made this extremely awkward and looked towards her management, who then told Charlemagne the God, which is one of the hosts, that they don't want to answer the question and to move on. Breakfast Club isn't a very popular show within the black community, like I said. Why not just explain it right then and there? She ended up explaining it later on, but I know this left a sour taste in lots of black Americans' mouth. And this interview is often brought up on why lots of people don't mess with Tyla. And this was one of the things that I'm just like, it really didn't have to be as big as it is. She's from a different place. She's from South Africa. That's how she identifies. It means something different. That's all she had to say. But, she made it seem kind of more than what it was, and now people took it for more than what it was. Many Black Americans don't like the fact that Tyla is benefiting from Black American culture, but doesn't want to address certain things pertaining to it. Similarly to how, when white people join hip hop spaces, but want to stay kind of neutral when it comes to politics, they use us for the come up, but really aren't trying to deal with the highs and lows that come with integrating into the culture. Race is an extremely big thing in the United States, unfortunately, and many of the things we hear about South African can be really crazy as well. Most Americans are aware that South Africa has a racist history similar to that of the United States, but more recent. Again, I'm not South African, so I'm not speaking, I'm speaking from an outside perspective. But I've heard, about hierarchies regarding skin tones within South Africa, and I'm sure many Black Americans have heard similar sentiments, which causes a lot of, prejudices. So at the VMA Awards, Tyla won Best Afro Beats. Once she received the award, she was complaining that the award was too heavy and looked at the host Lil Nas X and Holly to kind of hold it for her. And I'm not gonna lie, when I saw this, I'm like my face scrunched up a bit. I'm like, the award can't be that heavy. I mean, you like I'm really trying to reason with her, but I'm like, what do you mean it's that heavy? It's like a 6 pound award. And I'm trying to figure out if she's being serious or she's just joking. Lots of other people had the same sentiments. Said like, Tyler had no problem carrying it for the pictures after the shot. Like, why is she trying to act like it's so heavy? I do want to mention that Olivia Rodrigo did say, the same thing. She was complaining that the VMA awards were heavy. So, there are other artists that have said that. So, I guess for proof for Tyla. But most people are just like, it's not that heavy where like if you hold it for two hands, like you can't say the speech, basically. So many people felt like it just wasn't a good look for Tyla to ask Holly and Lil Nas X to hold it because one, they're bigger celebrity figures than her. And two, it's her award. She could just hold it herself. Many people thought that this was very uppity and one thing about Americans is they don't like when people are too cocky if they haven't accomplished enough. If a Rihanna or Beyonce had done this, there wouldn't have been a lot of backlash, and that's just because they've accomplished so much in their careers where people will give an excuse, for them to act like, pop star divas, to give the, pop star diva energy. However, Tyla that she hasn't accomplished near as much as what they have. So obviously, people are gonna rush to humble her. Like, why are you asking for people to hold your stuff when you have one hit, basically? People that hated her since the Breakfast Club interview that I mentioned earlier, now they have justification to hate on her, aka confirmation bias. And an entire Diaspora War has been unfolding on Twitter because of this incident. And I want to kind of break both sides of the argument down and kind of look at it um, kind of objectively. So, from Black Americans, the main perspective that I'm seeing is that Tyla thinks she is too good for Black Americans. That's like the main sentiment. Many people feel that she is constantly ignoring social cues while navigating through Black spaces and doesn't care enough to learn or address anything. They felt like her even asking Holly was disrespectful because they're the same size. So if it's too heavy for Tyler, why wouldn't it be too heavy for Hallie as well? And Tyler has clarified that, she was talking to Lil Nas X and asking him to carry the trophy. But many people still feel like she was acting too uppity because at the end of the day, it wasn't going to kill you to hold that award. I don't know. The fact that Tyla is also lighter complexion and trying to pass off, quote unquote labor to her darker skin counterparts, Lil Nas X and Holly, it also didn't sit right with a lot of people, and that that's a deeper discussion. Obviously, that sounds kind of dumb on surface level, but that's a deeper discussion and an ongoing topic within the Black community and Black spaces. And on the other hand, we had many Africans, and yes, I'm generalizing, so maybe I should say South Africans, but I know there are a lot of like Nigerians weighing on this topic as well. Lots of Africans, they were thinking, Black Americans are only mad at this issue because Black people feel like Africans are beneath them. So they think that Black Americans feel threatened by Tyla because Tyla comes off as very independent. She's very confident. She knows who she is. And many Africans feel like Tyla is getting a lot of heat by Black Americans because Black Americans aren't used to seeing Africans in this way. In my opinion, I think everyone in the Black African diaspora are projecting pretty hard. To be fair, there is a lot of history that shows that many people from Africa have a right to feel this way. Before 2016, when it was really cool for Black Americans to, represent the culture and, be proud of the motherland, it wasn't uncommon for lots of Black Americans to try and distance themselves from African culture in order to try to assimilate. This resulted in many cases where Black Americans used to diss African culture and unfortunately bully lots of people a part of that culture here in the United States. This may be the reason many Africans feel like Black Americans are too uppity and are intimidated by them, especially Tyla, because she is very successful and doesn't come off as the stereotypical African that Black people used to kind of make fun of. On the other hand, many Black people are aware of the fact that many Africans come over to America, benefit off of the backs and all the civil rights that Black Americans have done to allow for lots of these African and immigrants to come into this nation, and they still kind of sneak this on the low. If we're being honest, there are a lot of Africans that won't let their children associate with Black Americans. They think that Black people are just like what they see on Love and Hip Hop or baddies. Obviously, I'm oversimplifying a very complicated, diaspora war, but I'm just using, kind of quick examples to kind of explain kind of the sentiments that both sides are facing towards this, VMA situation. Like I said before, I think both groups are projecting a bit. I don't think Tyler was trying to be malicious or trying to disrespect Holly or Lil Nas X. It might have, I don't know, it might have really just it was just a weird question to ask. Like it's like any American, I'm sure when they were looking at it was kind of looking like that's kind of weird, like it's not that heavy, but I don't think it was malicious at all. I do think Tyler needs to be more mindful as how she navigates within Black spaces. Some of the things that are brought up, they might not make sense to her, but they have deeper roots within the Black, they have deeper roots within Black history. And when you are trying to capitalize off of Black culture, you need to be sensitive and mindful to certain topics within it. What are your guys' thoughts on this whole Tyler VMA situation? Do you think she was trying to push, a certain persona, or do you think she's really like this? Is she are people overreacting? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know in the thoughts in the comments. Like and subscribe. And you guys have a wonderful day.